Hey y'all, this is the Variety Kid. The power is actually out here where I am. I was gonna say previously there was some really strong winds. Actually here, like as you can see here, a really big tree got knocked down. Yeah, it was quite possibly like the heaviest rain and the strongest wind I had ever seen, and it felt like a hurricane was going to. It felt like weather that you'd experienced before a hurricane, which I really don't know why we experienced it, because like there's no hurricanes or tropical storms forecasted to come to the Houston area. So I don't really know why we experienced that. Anyways, as you see in the title, in this video, I'm going to talk about 20 things or 25 things I'd change with iOS 17. So I actually have the iOS 17 beta downloaded on my iPhone 11 Pro. This is actually the first time I've downloaded a beta, and I was able to do it from the settings app, and for whatever reason, Apple now allows me to download betas from the settings app. Here are some things I would want changed by the time the final version of iOS 17 comes out. Number one, and this is really important, I would like the ability to have do not disturb include Amber Alerts. Like, this is kind of frustrating. Like, when I say I don't want to be disturbed, that means I don't want to be disturbed, and that includes Amber Alerts. Like there might be some people who want to hear them because like they can be really important, but like I would rather be woken up by a phone call or a text message than an Amber Alert, since Amber Alerts are a lot more loud. Number two is the ability to change the time-lapse speed in the camera app. So I personally feel like time-lapse is too quick, but sometimes I wouldn't want it to be like, but I'd still want a faster video than what regular video mode could do. So I'd like the ability to change the time-lapse speed. I know like at some point time-lapse gets faster, so I don't really know like if you change the time-lapse speed, what I'd have it do after it reaches 10 minutes or at whatever point it is that it speeds up. Number three, and this is something that I feel like should have been changed a long time ago, but I would increase the amount of ringtones and text tones and other tones available. So we've had the same ringtones and text tones on iPhones and iPads for the past 10 years. So I feel like I'm really tired of it. So this is one of the things that I would change with the official version of iOS 17. Number four is I would increase the amount of wallpapers available. So I don't know if this is true, but I feel like I've heard that like Apple doesn't really and hasn't ever increased the number of wallpapers available there, or they've just like added the same amount they take away. So I'd really love it if they could like. So I would definitely add new wallpapers and including probably returning some from previous softwares. Or I might take away some, but however, I would definitely, if I were to take away some, I would definitely add more than I take away. Number five is fix the issue where the double/triple back tap doesn't work. So as you can see here on my 11 Pro, I have the double tap set to, or the double back tap set for the camera app. Yeah, so I don't think you can see it here, but I'm tapping my phone and it doesn't activate the camera. So like obviously, like if Apple adds a feature, they intend it to work. So I would definitely fix the error where the double tap doesn't work, and I'm pretty sure like other people have probably had this issue as well. Like I've tried rebooting it before, and it works like one time after I reboot it, so I would fix that. And in addition, and like a security update, like sometimes after iPhones become unsupported, like Apple will give it like a security update with an iOS version running like the last major version they ran. But however, with a security update, I would also I would probably also release a security update with iOS 16 that would fix the issue, or for it not working on the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and 10, because they also have that feature, but however, they've become unsupported with the latest iOS 17 update. Number 6 is involves screen time. So I'm sure you know about how you can like or like have downtime for certain periods of time where you can't use your phone, at least without a password, or allowing yourself more time. But I would probably give the option where you can like limit how much screen time you have between certain periods of time, like say between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, or something like that. Number 7 is, or so I know at least Samsung used to at least have this. I feel like they might probably still have this, but I would give this like menu to allow you to quickly access other apps. As with split screen multitasking, I might do it on like the or on the Max and Plus models, such as the 10s Max, 11 Pro Max, 14 Plus, etc. But however, I don't really feel like split screen multitasking should be used on phones like my 11 Pro or the 13 Pro, simply because they have too small of a screen. But however, to kind of make up for this, I would give like this floating menu where you can like quickly move between like a certain number of apps. Number 8 is is the ability to easily see the battery health history. So I believe a tech YouTuber said that you can see your battery health history. It's just like not very easy to access, but I would probably make it where under the battery health settings, you can easily see like how much your iPhone has degraded in the past. Number 9 is the ability to like save/archive older versions of notes. So sometimes like when editing a note, like sometimes I kind of wish that I had like saved information from an older version if I like add to it or replace it. So I would give the ability to like save a version of the note in case you want to like look back at like an older version later. Number 10 is, so I don't know if the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro currently have this feature, but like I would lower the refresh rate when you're just doing things like deleting a screenshot on the lock screen, simply because like or simply because in many cases like you wouldn't really be doing very much on the lock screen. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You wouldn't be doing very much on your phone. Therefore, it wouldn't really be necessary to like refresh at 60 hertz. There's probably some other times where I would like limit the or when you're using your phone, where I would probably limit the refresh rate to 10 hertz or not much more than 10 hertz. But I can't really think of any examples right now off the top of my head. 11 is the ability to limit how bright or how dim auto brightness can go. So for me personally, I don't have auto brightness on, like basically never, because oftentimes it goes brighter than I want it to, and I don't want it to go too bright because it uses up too much battery life, even in the sunlight. So for me personally, I'd like it if there could be an option for you to like limit how bright or dim the auto brightness can go on its own, unless you adjust it manually. Number 12, and this is one that I feel like probably should have been around for a while now, but it's the ability to change flash settings during the video. So like, as you probably know, you can't change the flash settings here, and I don't know, I wanted to point out that like when Everything Apple Pro in his most recent Every iPhone Compared video, when he was like comparing the video recording, or this was mainly meant as a video recording quality, but it was comparing the video recording of the 3GS or the first iPhone to or that was able to record video or to the 10s Max, or he pointed out about how like you can't really change anything, and I definitely feel like by now you should be able to change the video quality settings. Number 13 is I would increase or decrease the size of the widgets. So as you can see here, the widgets on my home screen take up a lot of space. In fact, each widget, as you can see here, takes up the size of 4 app icons, which because I have 2 widgets that I kind of want to like access like at the same time, or this means that they take up 8 or they take up the size of 8 apps. So I would like decrease the size of the widgets by like or like with the YouTube widget, I would like remove the white space in between or in between the YouTube logo and where it says search YouTube. Naturally, both of these widgets can also be a lot narrower. So that's another way I would decrease the size of the widgets. In addition, or I might make it where the widgets take up like a fraction of the size of an app icon. And this actually just popped in my head. I don't really know, or if that's the case, I don't really know what I do with like how many apps you can like or with how many apps you'll be able to have in the or nearby a widget. I don't know if or I might decrease the the app sizes. I mean, that would look weird. Or I mean, I kind of thought about this just now. Maybe they could create more screen real estate by removing the search menu, or at least giving you the option to do that. Number 14 is I would give the ability to bypass this enter passcode thing in the settings with Touch ID or Face ID. So like with you being able to like use Touch ID and Face ID for so many things now, including like in-app purchases and signing into websites. Or I really feel like by now, like if you consent to it or if you want to allow it, I feel like you should be able to bypass this through the biometric method. And of course, like and this wouldn't be like a security problem where like another user could change your password if they have their fingerprint or Face ID, because you would or because it would only be allowed with your consent. 15 is for TrueDepth camera iPhone, the option to have the touchscreen disabled when no one is looking at it. So naturally, because like whenever whenever my screen is on and I'm not looking at it, sometimes I might do something by mistake, and I feel like this could be like really good because it could prevent you from like deleting or removing apps from your home screen by mistake or clicking on something you don't want to do. I don't know if I'd like or make it in the settings where there would be different options for like how or how much attention you must be looking at the screen. But if I weren't to give options, I would probably only disable it like. Or I would probably only disable it like whenever you're like completely or almost completely not looking at the screen. Number 16 is, if possible, I'd like to see a 10-watt wireless charging return to iPhones with that compatibility. So when the iPhone 11 series came out, they were limited with a software update shortly after they came out to 5 watts. And while Apple later did allow 7.5 watt wireless charging, which is the same that the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and 10 allow, they still don't allow 10 watt wireless charging. So if it is at all possible or feasible, I would like to see 10-watt wireless charging return to iPhones with that compatibility. I have a feeling that the iPhone SE 2020 and SE 2022 I don't have that feature, or probably due to their probably didn't have a capable wireless charger for that feature, probably because of their smaller batteries. But I would like to see it returned to all iPhones and or all iPhones that are able to, including the iPhone 12 and later, without MagSafe, simply because like for me, wireless charging is really slow at 7.5 watts, and I would definitely like to see it return to 10 watts, since it is or since that means it's a downgrade from the iPhone XS. 17 is when scrolling through the front camera modes, I would remove the modes that iPhones don't have in the front camera. So for the iPhone XR, XS, and 2SE models, I would remove slow-mo. I would remove panorama for all devices, and I would remove action mode for the iPhone 14 models. And I would also do this for the iPad. I don't really know as well like what modes the iPads do and don't have. But I know this iPad doesn't have slow-mo for the front camera. And also for the rear camera, I would remove modes on iPads that are only in the front camera. Like, I know certain iPads, in fact, actually, I think possibly all iPads don't have portrait mode for the rear camera. So when scrolling through rear camera mode, I would remove portrait mode for the iPads that don't have that mode. Control center icons. So with these icons, like it's often hard to tell like which one is which. So I feel like Apple should either like make the icons look like these actual home screen icons here, like with the color and stuff, or they should make it where the or they should make it where the icons in the control center have names. 19 is so in your phone app call history, I'd like it if you could like have a longer call history, and I would like it where you could like have the ability to search for contact names or phone numbers in your call history to see like say how many times you called that person, or like when the most recent time was that you called that person. Number 20 is or with the app updates, whenever there's a lot of available updates listed, like there are here, there's 43 of them. I'd like it if there was the ability to like search for apps in the available updates section, or at a minimum, like I'd like the option to like have the app updates sorted alphabetically, so you could like more easily find the app you want to update. Number 21 is with the iPhone 13 Pro and 14 Pro models and any of the iPads that support it. I'd like it if there was the ability to record ProRes in 720p at 30 frames per second, simply because like it just seems so logical. Like if it's available at 1080p, then it should also be available at 720p, and this would like allow you to create ProRes. I mean, it would still take up a lot of storage, but it would allow you to like record ProRes with like less storage than 1080p ProRes takes, and I'm still pretty sure that like it could still create really good video. Number 22 is so on the lock screen, I'd like it if you could have the option to like disable Touch ID or Face ID, so that it won't recognize the wrong finger or face when other people touch your phone. So I know there's kind of the option if you like press the power button like 5 times or so, but however, I'd like I might not add any new way, but I might also make it I might also make it I would definitely also want to make it where whenever you're ready to unlock your phone, I'd like it if you could like turn the feature off where Touch ID and Face ID are disabled. Number 23 is in slow-mo videos, make it where you can hear like what people are saying, like make the audio audible in slow-mo videos. So like if there's like things you want people, or if there's like things people say that you want to hear, or I'd like it if you could like actually like hear the audio and like hear what people are saying. And lastly, number 24 is I would like it if there was like the ability to like see the time a person read your text message, like at a minimum, at least like the day after you send the text message, simply because like you might not know that they read it until the following day. And I would like it where at least on the following day, you would be able to see what time the text message was read. So it would say like read yesterday at 8:27 p.m. or whatever time it is that they read it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. So I know I said there were going to be 25 reasons, but it actually turns out that there was a reason I listed that while recording I figured out was actually changed in iOS 17. By the way, if you were wondering what feature that was, the feature was in video mode. Whenever you're in a lens other than the main lens and you change the resolution or the frame rate to make it where it doesn't change back to the main lens. Anyways, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry the videos have been taking a while. I have some video ideas planned, and I feel like I would say that like new videos would be coming soon, but I mean, based off of like what's happened in the past, I'm not really sure about that. I mean, school is out for me, so hopefully I can get some more videos out soon. But I'm not actually sure about that. Anyways, bye. Have a good day.